My hands were shaking as I grabbed a baseball bat from my closet. The footsteps outside my office door had stopped, but I could still see the shadow of feet under the crack. I was trying to process what this meant. If Sarah was at book club, then who had been watching me for months? I quietly opened my office window and climbed out onto the roof of our back porch. From there, I could see into our neighbor's yard and around to the front of the house. Sarah's car was definitely gone. I climbed back inside and called her immediately. She answered on the second ring, and I could hear her book club friends chatting in the background. She'd been there for over an hour, just like she said. When I asked her about the peeking behavior, she sounded genuinely confused and concerned. She had no memory of any of it. That's when I realized I needed to call the police. Someone had been getting into our house, possibly for months, and I had been so focused on thinking it was Sarah that I never considered an intruder. The shadow under my door was gone by the time I worked up the courage to check, but I found something that made my skin crawl. Our spare key, which we kept hidden under a fake rock by the front door, was sitting on the kitchen counter. Someone had been using it to get inside, then replacing it when they left. But the most disturbing part was what I found when I checked our security camera footage. We had a camera that recorded the front hallway, and when I scrolled back through weeks of footage, I found her. A woman who looked almost exactly like Sarah, but not quite right. Same height, same hair color, same general build. But her movements were wrong, too rigid, too purposeful. And her face, when she turned toward the camera, it was like looking at Sarah but with all the warmth and personality drained out. The footage showed her entering our house every single day, always when Sarah was at work or out running errands. She'd walk through our home like she belonged there, touching our things, sitting in our chairs, and yes, peeking around corners waiting for me to appear. The timestamps matched perfectly with every incident I'd experienced. The most chilling discovery was a video from 3 weeks earlier. I watched this Sarah imposter go through our bedroom, trying on Sarah's clothes, spraying her perfume, even brushing her teeth with Sarah's toothbrush. She spent 20 minutes practicing Sarah's facial expressions in the bathroom mirror, like she was studying how to become her. I called 911 immediately, and when the police arrived, they found evidence that this woman had been living in our attic. There was a makeshift bed up there, along with dozens of photos of Sarah and me that had been taken with a telephoto lens. She had been studying us, learning our routines, our habits, our relationship dynamics. The detective explained that this was a case of what they call identity stalking. The woman, whose name was Jessica, had become obsessed with Sarah after seeing her at a coffee shop months earlier. She decided she wanted Sarah's life, our house, our relationship, me. She'd been gradually inserting herself into our daily routine, testing how long she could be present before being noticed. The most disturbing part was her endgame. Police found detailed plans in the attic describing how she intended to replace Sarah completely. She had been learning everything about my wife, her mannerisms, her voice, her preferences, with the goal of eventually getting rid of Sarah and taking over her identity permanently. Jessica had been getting bolder, staying in the house longer, interacting with me more directly through the peeking behavior. The detective said she was probably building up to making direct contact, maybe approaching me when I was alone and pretending to be Sarah coming home early. They caught Jessica that same night when she returned to the house around 11 p.m., expecting to find me asleep and Sarah at book club. She had a key made from our spare and was carrying a bag containing chloroform and zip ties. The detective said if I hadn't discovered the truth that night, Sarah and I both would have been in serious danger. The whole experience has changed how I view safety and privacy. We've moved to a new house, changed all our routines, and installed a comprehensive security system. Sarah still has nightmares about someone stealing her identity, so completely that even her own husband couldn't tell the difference. But the thing that haunts me most is wondering how long Jessica had been watching us before she started the peeking behavior. How many nights had she been in our attic while we slept below? How many times had she been in our house when we weren't home, going through our things, learning about our lives? The police never found out exactly when she started, but they estimated it could have been 6 months or even longer before I first noticed the peeking. 6 months of a complete stranger living parallel to our lives, studying us, preparing to replace my wife.